All right, and we're back for our third podcast on our Network Design Lab. Again, reminder on D2L content page, one of our last modules down here, Network Design Lab. I'm getting all my links and resources from here. Here's a copy of the lab, the two diagrams for the office itself, and the network diagram, podcast for it, that sort of thing. That's where I'm getting all these resources from. Our focus now is, let me pull up our design lab. The first podcast we introduced what it is and showed you what it looks like when it's all pulled together. The second podcast we did talked about how to do our network diagram using something like Dia and how to deal with that. This podcast is going to focus in on how to do our equipment list or our cost sheet, our spreadsheet, if you will. Now, before I barge into this, remember I'm going to scroll down towards the end of my document. There's the network diagram. The last couple pages of our document talk about how to pick out different pieces of equipment. So as the second half of the semester rolls on, I'm going to be reminding you, pick out this piece of equipment, then pick out this one, then use these steps here, use these notes to help you pick out a piece of equipment for various parts of the plan. When you do that, you might as well take this information and put it right in the spreadsheet so you have it for your design lab. So let's kind of go through at least one of these so you understand how it works. And let's pick out our switch for our plan since that's one of the first ones on the list. I'm going to go to the Cisco site. I didn't pull up their site yet, but I'll go to their Cisco site. And I'm picking on them because they're one of the big suppliers of network equipment. I always joke with my guys in class, I don't get any kickback or anything. I'm going to go to their products page. All right, come on here, products page. I'm going to go to where it says switches. So I'm going to scroll down where they have switches. And the kind of switch we're looking for is, well, if I look at my Network Design Lab, at the top of the lab, we talk about core distribution access. Well, our switches, most of our switches are going to be down here in the access area, devices connecting in. So right here it says access switches. I'm going to pick that area. And then I think I give you a hint in your design lab here of the ballpark of switches you should be looking for. So I'm going to scroll down here. Okay, switches, campus LAN. Select the lowest model number for now and we can always go up. So I'm kind of giving you a hint to start down towards the bottom, and we can always increase our product line if we need to. The next thing I always do is I always look for compare models or something of that nature so I can see all the models laid out in front of me so I know what I'm looking for. And this is exactly what I'm looking for. A chart that shows me model numbers, port counts, those sorts of things. Well, one of the first things I want to look for is if it says anything different. Well, one of the first things we see is I look at this top chart and this bottom chart. I see model numbers, port counts, SFPs, and I see feature set. Well, I see LAN base, and then down here I see IP light. Well, think back to OSI model, LAN base, that should be a layer 2 switch. IP light, IP layer 3, this should be a layer 3 switch. You start looking for those kind of things to sort them out. Well, for now, let's just pick out a layer 2 switch. But if I wanted a layer 3 as a part of my network, I could pick it right here and I could get some intelligence and ability to sort things out into different VLANs or subnets or that sort of thing in my plan if I pick this layer 3 switch. Well, I'm just going to start with layer 2 for now. We can always upgrade to that. The next thing I'm going to look at is my port counts and needs for. Well, if I look at my plan, I have a number of devices plugging in, and I have a number of devices plugging in like IP phones and wireless access points that are going to need power. So I'm going to start looking at power over Ethernet capabilities to see, I should say, that is one of my requirements I'm looking for, and I'm probably going to go 48 ports. That way I might be able to do 1 or 2 big switches instead of 4 or 5 little ones in this facility. So I might try this guy towards the top. And if need be, I can, downgrade to another model here or whatever. So I might go to something like this right off the bat. This is how you pick out your model number of device. I'm picking out with some education, if you will, looking at what I need and what is available here. I take this model number to a place, to a supplier. And again, I give you links on D2L here to a place like CDW. Again, I don't get kickback from them. They're just a pretty good supplier of equipment. I can take that model number, plop it right into their site, and more times than not, I can usually find a price for it. Now, in real life, I would shop around for best prices, make phone calls, that sort of thing. I do not need you to do that for this lab. Here is that switch right off the bat with a price. Yeah, not cheap, but this could be the switch for my plan. Well, if that is the switch I've picked out, what I will do next is, instead of just saying, hey, I picked it out, I might as well put this right into my spreadsheet. That way I'm building the spreadsheet for my plan. So I'm going to keep this handy, and I'm going to open a new workbook, Excel spreadsheet, and I might as well start my spreadsheet. So across the top, let me start putting some things like device. This will be a device category. Model number, we always need model number. We want something like quantity in case we need more than one. We'll do unit cost or unit priced, and then total price or total cost, if you will. And then out here on the right, we'll do some sort of source, URL, that sort of thing. So I might highlight that row, center justify, bold it, that kind of good, happy stuff. Next thing I'll do is I'll grab my device name. I'll come in here and do something like Cisco Catalyst 2960 48 port managed switch. I'll do that to start with, and then I'll edit it when I get into Excel. Okay, Cisco Catalyst 2960 48 port 48 port managed switch or something of that nature. That's better than just putting down switch. Okay, I'll slide my column over there a little bit. I will grab the model number off here. Here is the part number. This guy right here is the deal. That's the one I picked out off of the Cisco site. I will plop that in. That's handy if I need to start shopping around, or sometimes you run into, you do this work and then 6 months later you actually buy the equipment. Depending on the budget process, you want your model numbers. In this case, we're going to start with 1. I'm going to put it on unit cost 43.37. I'll do 43.38. I'll round up. 43.38. Now, I want to make these two columns currency. So I'm going to edit my cells. I'll do my format cells, and I'm going to pick currency here. And now it should be showing up dollars for me. For my total column out here, I know I only did a quantity of 1, but let's be smart. And here I'm going to do a formula where I'm going to say equals whatever's in this cell. I'm just going to click on it. Asterisk for multiply times this cell. I'm just going to click on it. So it's going to take those two cells and multiply them together for me. That way, if I ever come in here and change my quantity for any reason, it's doing all the math for me. And the next thing I will do is I will highlight this cell again, and see this little block in the corner? I'm going to grab that and drag it down. Any future pieces of equipment in here that I put in, it'll start doing the math for me. I'm just putting in random numbers right now, but you're seeing it do the calculation math for me. That formula got carried down, so as I start putting other equipment in, that formula is already there. The last thing I do is put down the URL or the source where I got this from. So if I have to go back and visit this at any future time, I have that. And I can just paste the whole URL in. That's fine with me. I don't need anything fancy there. But there is the first piece of equipment in my spreadsheet. Oops, I tried to save too quick. There's the first piece of equipment in my plan in the beginning of my spreadsheet. So as these second half of the semester goes on, and I'm reminding you to pick out pieces of equipment, you might as well pick it out, put it right in here in your spreadsheet, and you're building the spreadsheet for your design lab. I will do a save on this guy. I'm going to just save him right on my desktop, and I will do design lab spreadsheet or something like that. Design lab. If I can type, my goodness. Save that right to my desktop. Now, when you go to submit the lab at the end of the semester, you're actually going to take this spreadsheet and submit this file. You don't need to do any other formatting or copy pasting or exporting. You may just take this spreadsheet, this Excel spreadsheet, and submit it right to the Dropbox in D2L. That makes life a lot easier for you for submitting and for me for viewing. So there's how to get your equipment selection started, as well as how to get your spreadsheet started for your design lab.